church family. I am Marianita Johnson from the Church of the Advent, where our lead pastor is Superintendent Dr. Y.D.B. Thurgood Jr. and leading lady missionary Nakisha Thurgood. And welcome to the Hour of Victory Sunday School. Thank you for your faithfulness in joining us on our social media platforms. Please like, share, and subscribe. Today is October 22nd, 2023. Our title is A Blessing for Ishmael and Isaac. The Bible truth states, God can make a great nation of anyone if he chooses to do so. Our memory verse is from Genesis chapter 21, verses 12b through 13. And it reads in the King James Version, And all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. For in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. Before I read our Bible text, we recommend that you read the additional scriptures. Genesis chapter 15 through 17, chapter 21, verses 9 through 21, and chapter 26, verses 1 through 25, and incorporate the insight gained into your study of the lesson. Let us read our Bible basis from Genesis chapter 21, verses 13 through 14, verses 17 through 21, chapter 26, verse 2 through 5, and verses 12 through 13. It starts, And also of the son of the bondwoman I will make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water, and gave it unto Hagar, putting it into her shoulder and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven, and said unto her, What aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God had heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water, and gave the lad drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew, and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him, a wife out of the land of Egypt. Chapter 26, verse 2, he said, And the Lord appeared unto him, and said, Go not down into Egypt. Dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform an oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of the heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice, and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Then Isaac sowed in that land, and he received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. And the man waxed great, and went forward, and grew until he became very great. Is it ever hard to wait for something that you really want? Have you ever felt like giving up? Our lesson today is about a couple who had to wait a really long time for God's promise to be fulfilled or to come true. One thing we'll see in our lesson is that God keeps his promises, and he deserves the glory for it. Today's lesson comes from the first book in the Bible, Genesis. God had promised that Abraham and Sarah would have children. But Abraham was really, really old, and when God promised him that he would have a son, does that even sound crazy or what? Even Sarah laughed when she heard she was to have a baby. God's promise didn't come true right away, and Abraham and Sarah started to doubt that God would keep his promise at all. So they took matters into their own hands. Sarah told Abraham to take her servant, Hagar, as the second wife so he could have a child with her. Though Abraham was reluctant, he went ahead with Sarah's plan. And sure enough, Hagar later gave birth to a baby boy. They named him Ishmael. But God hadn't forgotten about his promise, and he intended to keep it, even though it was hard to believe. When Abraham was about 100 years old, Sarah gave birth to a baby boy as well. They named him Isaac, which means son of laughter. Why do you think they named him Isaac? Sarah was filled with joy and laughter that God's promise finally came true. Ishmael was about 16 years old when Isaac was born. There was a big party to celebrate the new baby, and during that party, Sarah noticed that Ishmael was mocking or making fun of Isaac. This upset Sarah so that she said to Abraham, "Get rid of that slave girl and her son, for that slave woman's son will never share in the inheritance with my son Isaac." The matter distressed Abraham greatly because it concerned his son. But God said to him, "Do not be so distressed about the boy and your maidservant. Listen to whatever Sarah tells you, because it is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. I will make the son of the maidservant into a nation also, because he is your offspring." So Hagar took some food and water and set off into the desert with her son. Has anyone ever been in a desert? What's one thing you definitely need to survive in such a hot, dry place? Water, of course. Well, guess what? Eventually all the water ran out, and Hagar was afraid that she and Ishmael were going to die right under the tree in the desert. But God had another plan. He was going to take care of them. God spoke to Hagar and told her not to be afraid. Then he opened her eyes to see that there was a well nearby. She refilled her container for water, and they both survived their journey. Ishmael grew up and started his own family, and eventually became a great nation as well. A severe famine forced Isaac to move from his home. He was planning to go to Egypt, but the Lord warned him not to leave the area. This was the first recorded revelation to Isaac. The land promise, the seed promise, and the blessing promise were reiterated. He sought to live as God desires. Like his father, he received the promised covenant blessings of God. Those who descended from Isaac would receive territories of various people, groups that inhabited the land of Canaan. It was through Isaac's seed that all nations on the earth will be blessed, the result of obedient faith. Isaac's riches continued to increase, and he became a very wealthy person. Even his pagan neighbors could recognize how much the Lord had blessed him. Throughout the lives of both Ishmael and Isaac, God accomplished his purpose for his people. Join us next week. Our lesson is The Blessing Passes to Jacob. We will interpret the meaning of Jacob's vision, cherish God's presence in our personal experiences, and invite God's presence into our everyday activities. You can get a jump start on next week's lesson if you add the following to your daily home Bible readings, starting with John chapter 4, verses 1 through 5, Genesis chapter 27, verses 1 through 29, chapter 28, 1a, verses 10 through 22, chapter 32, verses 22 to 30, and chapter 35, verses 9 through 15. Have a great day, and God bless.